He's riding on a donkey. He shows up. They're shouting to him. They're praising him. All these things are in fulfillment. But then people aren't ready. And so there's judgment. Now, those of you who are parents, sometimes I'll tell my kids things like, well, now I text them, but, be like, when I get home, I want your room clean. I want your chores done. Anyone ever do this? And then you get home. Yeah, some of you are like, I say it, but I'll never see it. You get home, and I tell them, like, I'm coming home tonight. And when I get home, I want to see the rooms clean, chores done. If I get home, and the rooms aren't clean, and the chores aren't done, is Dada happy? Now, if I get home, the rooms aren't clean, the chores aren't done, and I go, okay, give me your phones, because that's the only punishment you can do. I've literally heard people scream when you take a phone away from a teenager. A friend of mine got a ticket for riding in his canoe at Moore's Lake, and you have to have a noise-making device with you. And he got a ticket for not having it. You have to have a life preserver for everybody. You have to have a noise-making device in case you're stranded. It's Moore's Lake. You could walk across. It's 6 feet at the deepest. If you're 6'5", you could walk through Moore's Lake. Not walk on water. That's Jesus. But you could walk through it. I said, you had a teenager with a cell phone. You could just take it from him. That's a noise-making device. Anyway. But my kids couldn't be mad if I took their phones, if I told them, hey, be ready. And all of Israel's history, they're saying be ready for this king. Jesus shows up, they're not ready. And sad truth, they just weren't ready. And so there's this fulfillment, but then there's judgment. And that's what we see here. Things aren't the way they should be. Now, let me ask you a question. Are you ready? And I'm not saying this in a judgmental way. There's no more secrets. Jesus comes, he fulfills. But ultimately, he comes to give us life. Now, not in a judgmental way, but are we living in the way we're supposed to live? See, it's easy for me to look at the religious leaders at the time, make fun of them, right? They didn't get Jesus. They didn't understand. Look at how they were living. Look at the things they were doing. And then you look at your own life, if we're honest, and go, man, there's some room for improvement. You watch those housing shows and they're fixing things up. I got a lot of fixer-up stuff in here. Now, are you ready to give an account? Are you ready for a fruit inspection? Remember the fruit of the Spirit? Anyone? Love, joy. Yeah. We got some mashed fruit in here. We got some applesauce. But there's these things that the Spirit creates in us as we're a follower of Jesus, but sometimes, we kind of miss it out. Now, if you're not a follower, we often say here, admit, believe, and commit. We admit that we're a sinner and have made some mistakes. And we often say here, we're all a little jacked up. And if you don't think you're a little jacked up, you're really jacked up. But the truth is, we mess up. We make mistakes. We don't do all that we're supposed to. So that's the admission part. And then we believe that Jesus is God's Son, and he chose to die on the cross for you. Now, you may not understand all the ramifications of that, all the layers of that, all the deep meanings of that, but just believing that, and then C is commit your life to following Jesus and serving others. That's what this whole thing is about. Now, so if you're not a follower, accept, believe, commit. But here's the thing: if you are a follower, does our fruit match what we're fronting? Are we trees with leaves and no fruit? See, it's real easy to go to church in America. In other countries, not so much, and different things, and that's a whole other conversation for another time. But, it's easy. We can walk in. We're pretty laid back. We have to dress nice clothes. We're pretty casual here. I always say I set the bar low, although Devin's probably watching, dressed up. Because we're all a little jacked up, but ultimately we're supposed to be becoming like him. And sometimes we remember, if you're a believer, we admit and we believe. We got to work on that C, commit. And again, I'm not being judgmental, but we do have to judge, is there fruit? Am I committing? Am I following the way I should? And I think every Sunday really is that time for correction to go, where am I off? Again, not in a condemning way. Because see, Satan would condemn you for messing up, for screwing up, for being wrong. Jesus comes, he comes that we may have life and have it to the full. And so, he convicts us of our sin so that we can change and be better. But it's often in life a choice between following my heart and instinct and following his word. That's why we spend so much time studying the Bible. Because there's times, people say, follow your heart. My heart leads in some bad places. Because sometimes the things we want aren't the things God wants. And so, part of following Jesus is coming, hearing his word, studying his word, being a part of the Bible studies, different things we have, and then going, am I living this out? And ultimately, choosing to follow him is so much better than our ways. John 10:10 again. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy, but I have come that they might have life and have it to the full. God has this plan and a purpose for us. A big part of that is not, sometimes we read that and we think, well, God has like stardom and perfection and I'm going to play in the NFL or something like that. That's awesome. But the plan is that you're going to live out your life following him. Where that leads you, I don't know. But choosing his way, choosing to follow Christ, choosing to follow in his ways is the most important thing. So choose that this season. As the worship team comes back to play, if you're following along in YouVersion, you can actually click on the connection card link and you can fill it out digitally. Some of you are like, I don't even know what YouVersion is. There's a brochure in the back. You probably didn't even see it. But again, you can fill this out. Please don't fill out your address every week. That's weird. But if you're interested in checking, if you're just checking things out, if you're interested in beginning a new life with Christ, recommitting with Christ, let us know. We'll try to contact you. Let me know the best way to contact you. Sometimes people just put their email and I email them and I never hear back, so I don't know. Anyone check their email? I think 10% of you do. Yeah. Anyway, we'd love to connect you. We'd love to pray for you. And on the back here, you fill out prayer requests. We'd love to pray for you this week.